Hello everyone, my name is Nathan, and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included here in the Ultimate Base 4.0. In between the episodes, I've done a lot of work, mainly on the second planetoid. I made sure that Ari could go about and do his work. And the reason he can do it so much better now is because I have a whole bunch of wrap pills over here. Actually, it's right there, the basic wrap pills. The payload opener system by now is also working, so it's automatically being deployed right here. And I've been sending over a whole bunch of supercoolant in order to fill up the loop. I simply made sure that I'm not delivering any more oil. Then I delivered the supercoolant and directly plugged it into this liquid reservoir. At around the 3000 kilograms mark, I stopped the delivery and then I filled up the entirety of the loop. Right now, I only built it up to this point because the rest I wasn't able to get built just yet. We also have several other things in place, such as rails. One rail is going from the teleporter all the way over to the base, and the other one would be right here, delivering items to the main planetoid. This way I can make sure that all the items from this planetoid kind of get delivered over here, and then this auto sweeper will pick out the materials that I want to be delivered to the main planetoid through this conveyor loader. Also, I filled up the steam room here with a little bit of water, which I did through this pipe here. So whenever I had an accumulation of water, then I just relayed it over here in order to fill up the steam chamber. We're now already down to 22 degrees and all of my machinery is being cooled, which means we can absolutely use it already. Now, this has been a huge endeavor, took multiple cycles. In the meantime, in terms of rockets, I already emptied out the liquid rocket. I was also able to send May out on another exploration mission. I went into this area and discovered the temporal tear. Very nice. If you didn't know, this is one way to, in quotes, win the game if you send a rocket through the temporal tear. Of course, first you have to open it. Right now it is closed, and you do that on the icy planetoid, which I think we might not have discovered yet. Anyway, I think it would be beneficial for us to go yet on another exploration mission right away. So I'm going to be doing that. Let's have a quick look inside. The fridge is full. That's really all we needed. And then in terms of research, I think we should also have made some progress. Yeah, we're actually already done here. We need the applied science research. So what we should be doing is activating that potentially. I currently have the material study right here, and all we need to do is relay the wrap bolts. So say I have another reflector right here pointing towards the machine, then I should easily be able to fill it up. And to switch the orientation a little bit. Oh, did you hear that sound? You established in the comment section that this is when we detect asteroids or what type it is. So like this gold meteor shower we just discovered, and that was that sound. So we know we have 1.7 cycles until impact. And that was possible because I have opened up the silo here with the telescope inside, right there. Good then, without any further ado, let's change the destination. We want to discover some more stuff. We could go ahead and maybe explore these two question marks now. Yeah, let's maybe move over here. This way we can discover a lot, and on the way back we can even pick up an artifact or so. Begin that launch sequence. May should be coming along very soon. And in the meantime, my driller rocket is on its way back with Gossman inside, I believe. And they also had some radiation pills to get by. There is my rocket launch. We're gonna close off the silo right away, and good luck on your journey. Slowly but surely, we're gonna run into troubles when it comes to petroleum. So I think we should be taking care of building a petroleum boiler now. We can use the magma and the magma from this minor volcano in order to heat up the boiler. Now, I was considering building it up here or down here, but the magma, we have to transport that either way. And I figured maybe it might be more convenient in the future to have it nearby the base and the payload opener. Maybe in retrospect, it would have been worth to integrate the supply teleporters inside of the base a little bit better. But I figured at some point we need rails going through most of the world either way, and probably also pipes. So I think in the future, what I'm going to do is take the oil that we're getting from the payload opener, and we're going to transport it over into the petroleum boiler. Now, this is going to be very theoretical. Maybe let's go ahead and deconstruct this first. Yeah, let me just get rid of all these ladders so that we have a little bit of space to work with. Wonderful, said and done. Looks like we have way more than enough igneous rock, so this is what we're gonna build it out of. Do I want the transit tube access point inside the contraption? That is a good question. And how large is it gonna be? Do I ever have to be inside? Probably not. So we could say this is gonna be the edge right here. And we also want to have the capability of moving below the solar panels. So this would be my upper left corner. Now, the way a petroleum boiler usually works is you start with oil coming up. The oil is going to be more or less in an agreeable temperature at the beginning as you extract it from the ground. It will then wiggle its way up through some radiant pipes and go all the way up. It will then be dumped into a chamber where it's going to be heated up to the point it changes to petroleum. The hot petroleum will then be sent back down the spirally path, touching the radiant pipes of the oil and therefore already preheating it. And of course, that also means the lower the petroleum gets, the colder it is going to be because of the incoming oil. And at the end, ideally, they kind of meet their temperatures. And I think I want to make the path they have to travel about 10 tiles in size, in length, right there. I'm also already going to install the radiant pipes. This is going to be 50, 60 pipes. That is more than enough. We can even think maybe about getting rid of the lower one. This should be enough for the temperature exchange, in my opinion. Let's see if we go up here, then there, then here. No, we would have to start in this place. Let's make the lower chamber where we actually store the petroleum about 4 high. And then I would be going up this way like so in order to then be able to drop it on the right side. So we just have to complete the wiggle pattern and then this should be it. Theoretically. You know what? We do have the space and I don't want to run the risk of not making it long enough. The longer it has time to heat up, the better. So we're gonna add one more jiggle wiggle. Now we have 50 pipes and tiles of temperature exchange and we have a more or less good sized chamber to store the petroleum in. Now, ideally, the oil would then be dropping down into a chamber. Let's make this at least 4 tiles in height. And I'm going to do this with airflow tiles because I believe even with the update, they're going to be holding out a little bit more pressure. So basically right over here, I'm going to be dumping the oil. It's going to be dropping down onto some steel tiles. The steel tiles should then be heated up with a steel door, so we can always ensure to have about 400 degrees, which is required to turn it into petroleum. Now, if in the future I want to double the output, I think this might be worth it by just having one steel door here. Ooh, actually, I need 2 different steel doors. Yeah, that makes sense. I want to be able to steer the 2 chambers individually. So let's say one is going to be here and the other one there. We can then have our metal tiles and this would be the second chamber with another liquid vent here, and we would just be doing something that mirrors the first part. This means I somehow need to make contact with my heating element, such as the magma. But maybe to get a better idea of what this actually means, I'm just gonna finish the build, the mirroring. Now, I'm not even sure when we're gonna be at the point to be able to sustain 2 petroleum boilers with the incoming oil. And we're just gonna activate one for the time being, but then the other one can be activated whenever. And my intention is to make heavy use of oil and petroleum. Now, before we really think about building any of this, we need to go through the concept. For instance, I need to be able to bring magma over here, but then also when it solidifies, I need to be able to automatically mine it up. Working with magma, it's always going to be easier to work with gravity a little bit. So one thing we might be able to do is make a pillar of steel. Maybe it doesn't even need to be that high, but my point is I want to store a little bit of magma in these tiles. To do that, we could simply use bottle emptiers. Actually, this doesn't even need to be metal tiles. Eventually, it would be nice to pump up the magma, but I'm not sure. Since I have a duplicant here, not always being busy, I would suggest that they can also just bring it. But essentially, we just make sure that we have enough space for a chute in the future if we want to bring the magma automatically. Now, this of course would allow us to get a robo miner and bring it over here. Eventually, we should be able to just hang it on the wall once it's built, and then it should also be able to mine up the 3 tiles right here. Now we can use a hydro sensor, I believe, should be made out of steel, and we can place it right here in order to decide whether or not we need more magma. So if there's a certain amount of liquid here, it's magma. We don't need more. However, if there is no liquid, that means the tile has solidified, and then we want to activate the robo miner. Actually, the robo miner is going to activate on its own. I just want to make sure that my duplicant cannot enter this room and bring more magma if we don't want it to. So I'm gonna just have some pneumatic doors here, and then these hydro sensors that I'm gonna go ahead and connect. Steel wire just to make sure that nothing melts. And then all we need is a proper ladder to get up there. I'm gonna be using plastic. This always kind of signifies an area that is more or less safe for my dupes. And then right here at the bottom, I would like to see another maintenance shaft. Now, let me just indicate this maybe, and we'll go from there. Now, thinking about it, when it comes to oil, we first might want to store it in a location so that we can even distribute 2 full pipes, because with just one payload opener, we'll only be getting 1 full pipe. But the intention is that I can have it dormant and then in a very short period of time produce an awful lot of petroleum. And the other reason I want to have this design is just because I think it's cool. But essentially, it's my humble opinion that 1 full pipe is totally more than enough. If it runs 24/7, you have so much petroleum. But I'm more thinking of this in working in bursts. So we get the petroleum that we want and then the machinery is gonna stop. And when we need more, we can produce it extremely quickly. Now, I don't want to completely build the second half just yet, so I'm gonna put this to a very low priority and the rest we're gonna build. And now with the basic rappels, it's absolutely no problem anymore. Look at that, just hovering around the 24 mark. As soon as Ari has his downtime, he's gonna get rid of them on the pooper. Good, now there's one last question. Where are we gonna store the oil? I think below the base. That actually makes sense because this base is really dedicated to producing petroleum. So we could say all the way down to this level, we want to store some oil ready to convert, and then we could have 2 sets of liquid reservoirs in order to store the oil and then ship it over. So let's say one pipe needs to be ending up here feeding the left side, and then the other pipe would go through to the other chamber as well. Okay, I can actually kind of see this happening. So this would then be my output pipe. Let's also make this out of insulated pipes. And honestly, looking at this, we could just go down on the left side here, though I think this is the very last tile, so it's gonna be a pain in the butt to build this. No, it's too good. I really have to do it. So we're gonna go all the way to here. And it looks like we don't really have to deconstruct too much, just 2 tiles here, then we can reach this guy, and then we probably have to remove this entire wall. Yeah, let's do this. It's gonna be worth it. Considering everything, I might want this to be built first right here, and then if we check on the 3rd planetoid, we should once again have some oil disabled by automation grid. Hydro sensor, yeah, if you are above 200 kilograms or so, then I want you to pump. So now the oil is incoming again from the 3rd planetoid. And now while we build the petroleum boiler, we can already store a whole bunch of oil. Well then, in order to speed things up on the 2nd planetoid, I invited Nisbet. She's now sleeping on the floor, but she can utilize the infrastructure and also eat. I enabled the rappels for her, and now they're working together on this project. In the meantime, I think I want to send my liquid cargo rocket one more time. This is probably the last time I can send it before I have no more petroleum. So without any further ado, we're gonna open this up. This should be ready, and therefore we're gonna make our way back to the water planetoid here. Is it still? Yeah, it's probably still Nicola inside the rocket. And oh yeah, there was actually a very convenient solution for my problem here. I already implemented it inside the driller. Namely, the beach chair goes on the right side and the marble block on the left side, and therefore I can also have this uncontrolled and Gosman can enjoy his time a little bit. But there we go, we're ready to begin that launch sequence. Gene, you need to get out of the way, thank you. And this should then be automatically filled up with a little bit of water. Back to the 2nd planetoid, I emphasized building this so I can introduce my first oil. I think we already have oil inside of the interplanetary payload opener. Yeah, namely 1,300 kilograms. And so now Nisbet is eagerly helping with actually bringing the materials. I have all of my igneous rock here at the bottom and also the granite. It might be worth it shipping this upstairs, but now that Nisbet is on the planetoid, it really goes much quicker. Also, I decided to make my access point here from the top. This is always going to be in vacuum. I just want to make sure the lower tile is protected with the drywall. So this is going to be our aquatic drywall, and I want to make this out of obsidian just because. And we just got to make sure that the lower tile where the petroleum is going to flow down is all covered. And then of course this bottom portion I want to cover entirely. Very nice. There it is. I can introduce my liquid vent right here. Actually, thinking about it, I might want to put it one more block down so I can prevent the crude oil from ever going too high. Like, I don't want it to touch the heavy watt churn plate here. There it is. My oil is finally incoming. It can now just accumulate here. I will then also make a little bit of space for a bunch of liquid reservoirs so we can store even more. Now, it looks like right now I have a bunch of issues with my oxygen distribution. Wait, what's going on? Oh, yeah, oxygen is going down. I guess because I have knee bed here, we are actually using way more oxygen than I planned. But maybe this will be a good opportunity to implement something that prevents this from happening altogether. If I just do that, add my high gas pressure vent like we're used to, and a gas pipe element sensor like we're used to right there. Gonna do a little NOT gate since it's multiple gases we want to filter out. Connect this together. Like so and so. Gas pipe element sensor is going to be set to oxygen. That's when we want to close the high gas pressure vent. There we go. That should have fixed the problem, and the carbon skimmer can now also take care of the excess carbon dioxide. Opening all the payloads, by the way, also gave me an awful lot of iron from the third planetoid that I've been sending over all this time. And we're now going to build those liquid reservoirs. Now, technically, we could just lead it directly into the reservoirs, but I want a in-between station so we can have one pump here, another pump on the other side, and they are both gonna feed half of the liquid reservoirs. That's 5 reservoirs each, like so. And then I'm gonna extract the oil from these reservoirs right here. Do the same thing for the reservoirs on the left side. This is then gonna come down a little bit further, and now I can connect these pipes like so. And of course the oil is then going to be transported over. Let's maybe make sure this is not happening quite yet, but this should be really good and useful. And by the way, all the oxalite we have in here is from the meteor showers. I believe in due time we can even just use this oxalite that we're getting from here. It's way more than enough for one duplicant, but we could even send it over to another planetoid. By now, I also don't care about the gases anymore we have inside, maybe the natural gas, but looking at my main storage here, it's actually at 20 kilograms, so we are at capacity. We're not even really dependent on this natural gas, guys, here. I think I'm just gonna close it off for now, and then maybe we can already work towards getting rid of the last remaining pieces here, maybe even getting rid of this entrance that I made earlier. Yeah, basically, we're just gonna rip everything apart. Luckily enough, our cool slush guys here is going to be active in another 3 cycles, which is why we are mainly lacking the water, and right now our farms cannot be provided for, but that's going to change in 3 cycles, and we have 1,000,000 kilocalories. I do not really care at this point. We're making really good progress. Oh, and by the way, by now we also have 27 tons of steel, which is absolutely incredible, and pills. How many pills? 131. Not too shabby, Devon. You also let me know that, of course, we could have gone within the consumables, which I now did, and I disallowed taking the rat pills for everyone. That's unnecessary, except for Niesbet, but I will be disallowing it again once Niesbet comes back to the main planetoid. So yeah, there would have been a much easier solution. Oh, one thing I totally forgot was this conveyor loader. This should also be hooked up to my rails. Yeah, let's just bring this up and over, and it's going to be brought here. This is really just to get the polluted dirt out of this area automatically if possible. There's more steel incoming from the main planetoid as well. And by now we accumulated 100 kilograms per tile. So that's already, what, 2,600 kilograms of oil that we shipped over. And now there's my pump. Totally forgot that it also requires some power. Ooh, what was that? Gold amalgam. Actually, I can send over a little bit more gold amalgam. That shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, as soon as that's done, I probably want to close this off. I'm not gonna close it off completely. This ought to be enough. Or maybe we actually put this somewhere else. Yeah, let's put this guy over here, and then we're gonna move this back. If I'm quick enough, I can add another insulated tile here, and this shouldn't be an issue because... Ooh, actually, it filled up with carbon dioxide. So, never mind. It's gonna be fine. It's probably just gonna be pushed over here into the vacuum. But this will allow me to set up another plate right here and close this off completely. Wonderful. I'm now filling up my liquid reservoirs. That means my oil is ready as soon as I want it. And now it's all about finishing this build here. In the meantime, let's see. We have arrived here. Also, my Explorer rocket picked up a artifact. So now we can send the Explorer rocket back. Checking on my liquid rocket, which is already being filled up. Wonderful. So that seems to be working out so far, except that we have a little bit low power here on the water planetoid. Okay, I've been working on this project for quite a few cycles, so much so that I spent my time filling up the rocket and coming back with the liquid cargo. So now we finally have a full storage again. All of this inside the liquid reservoirs is reserved for the oxygen generation, and the rest goes to my farms. We also have some help from the second planetoid, but really I think it's nonsensical to wait any longer. We are still gonna activate it in the next episode. I just wanted to show you the progress and then also how I'm diverting the cooling loop. So eventually the coolant is gonna come back here, and I want it to go all the way down inside of these conductive panels. There's gonna be another conductive panel at the bottom and another one here. Now these are of course for the robo miners, and it looks like the bottle emptier is kind of in the way. Maybe I have to move everything down. Could I move down 3 spaces? I think it's technically possible. Right here at the bottom I would like to see a large power transformer, so I'm gonna put that right here, and I will be powering up the robo miners as well as the doors. So what are we missing? Maybe some obsidian right here, and we're gonna move this down. The doors will also have to move down, and everything here we're gonna keep on building the steel tiles, and then we should be golden. Now because I'm storing all of my materials inside the base, which kind of was a mistake, I'm actually getting a very low temperature. This is infecting my cooling loop, and of course everything goes down the drains this way. So one way we can fix this is maybe replace these with insulated tiles and then just hope for the best. I also installed a couple of auto sweepers here at the bottom in order to transport up the materials. My dupes can just go ahead and actually use the transit tube without using the atmosphere checkpoint to reach this pile. So whenever I want, I can also just sweep everything up, and with this automatic dispenser it will be landing in the tile where they can reach it. I also had to send over some more rat pills as well as food, which I did through the conveyor chute on the first planetoid. But there we go. Large power transformer. I'm gonna run a conductive wire made out of steel through here and there. And it's also gonna power up the robo miners. Where is the spot? Hold on a second. We also need auto sweepers in this case. Okay, then let's see. We can now place the robo miners, for instance, right here, so we can still reach the hydro sensor. There's still going to be the problem of the middle tile, but I think I'm just going to replace that with steel. Sure, this way we only have to mine up 1 tile that we can reach just like that. I can then also easily power it up, and like that my plan should work out. Okay, but you get the basic gist. I'm gonna add a conductive panel here and then maybe an auto sweeper on this side in order to pick up the mined material. As a matter of fact, we're gonna plan this out together and then I'm gonna build it off camera, but we can just have this sitting right here or maybe even there. No, I have to go down to this point. This means I need to find a way to cool down both machines, and I think I'm gonna do that going up first and then going down. Yeah, let's keep them at the same spot. Then I will be going down here, going up again, then going down. Okay, that might actually make sense. We go in here, go over there, go down. Ooh, maybe I want to skip this part. Then we go up again into here, go over, and then join back. So this is not going to be necessary any longer. And now we have everything cooled down. We just need to make sure that the duplicants are steered correctly. So for instance, if we only want to take 200 kilograms, that might be better because we will be able to bring the 200 kilogram bottles. And as soon as we reach that, the door is going to close. However, it shouldn't be closing when the dupe is still inside. But I guess that's not going to be the case because they just drop the bottle and then go again. I think we're pretty much safe to test this design out in the next episode. We already got a full liquid reservoir worth of crude oil that we can test it out with. But with that out of the way, I'm gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.